What's going on, people? It's Mr. Door back again with the review show. I hope everyone's fit and well. And yes, we're talking about today's result, Nottingham Forest 2, Everton 2. People in the comments, how are you feeling back today? I'll get my opinion. We'll get the panel's opinion as well about today's game. But if you are new to our channel, please do hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and comment today. Are you happy? Are you sad? I'm a bit cheesed off, but like I said, we'll talk about it today. Before we do get the comments, we've got to introduce the panel. First of all, we talk to the man himself, Dylan. How are you feeling, Dylan?
Happy, but yeah, I'm like you, mate, a bit pissed off.
I think everyone is. Next up, is Matt cheered up this time? I know the other day he was a bit cheesed off the other day, but is Matt cheered up? How are you feeling today, Matt? Is it okay you can talk today, or do I need to do this?
I think I could talk too much last time, so I'll try and sort of... I've had intensive therapy since last time, and we had a long talk about it today, and you agreed that I was right in the Cluffy tradition, so that's all right, really.
Oh, so
something's got to be said.
He had therapy today, people, so people don't get on Matt B because it's just Matt,
I've had lots of private comments saying you're completely right, but we can't say it in public and stuff like that.
You can't say it in public, people.
We can't support you.
People, if it was you, put the thumbs up if you see Matt was right. And last but not least, we've got the man himself, Glenn. How are you, Glenn?
I'm well. I was just sat in the last hour or so, just kind of, I've gone from rage to, it's all right, that's okay, to rage to pissed off to just every 10 minutes I seem to watch Dyche's post-match, Cooper's post-match, all these other things. I'm going, no, we were robbed. No, actually, we got away with it. I think it's going to be right through to next Saturday, and I'm hoping this is a little bit of therapy for me, to be honest, boys. But by the end of the next hour, I might actually have the start of my week with a little bit of kind of clarity as to how I feel about the result, to be honest.
I think me and Dylan, we need some therapy, don't we, Dylan? Matt's had his, Glenn's having his today. It's just me and Dylan. People are coming. Yeah. Do you think me and Dylan need a therapy? I think we're the youngest people here, that's why. So next week, I'm going to go. This week, I'm going for therapy, people. So if you want to pay for it, please give me. Please do. Right, before we do start, I'm going to go for the comments. And I've got a new member to the channel, Jojo Hudson. Thank you for being a member to the channel. If you can do a massive favor for me, Joe, email me, and I'll like to say thank you very much for being a member. And if you can, please be a member. Long hair Yeti says, "Hey, Door, 1 point away from the point 3. What matters through? Slightly disappointed we didn't go through them sooner than take 3 points." Me too. Me too, Paul. We'll talk throughout the game. Paul says, "Hope you're all nice to see you. Hope you're well. Nice to see you today, Mr. Door. We beat them 4-0. Streetwise, we never panicked. Cool finish by Johnson. Forest are staying up. It was great finish by Johnson as well. Raz Daz, nice to see you as well. Raz Daz, hi ho, disappointed we didn't win, but I'll take a point. Glad Yates is back. How do you think I feel when Yates is back? Again, we'll talk about Ryan Yates throughout the channel. Kieran says, "Who's late this time?" Who was late? No one was late. No one was late. I'll play. We'll say Dylan. Dylan was late.
He was first.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
It was neck and neck.
No. I just pick on the youngest.
We're the stars, so we turn up late. You know, we
exactly.
do what we want. So,
no, I just pick on the youngest. Dylan's the youngest in the channel, so we'll just pick on the youngest.
I am the youngest. The only time I can say that. Well, yeah, I had a tough paper round.
Derek, hi people. Another scrappy point today. I think everyone's a bit disappointed, aren't they? Kel says, "Evening, Dawn. Great to see you birthday. Nice to see you, Kel, and your son." Eve says, "How you doing, Eve? Good evening, Mr. Dawn, Glenn, Dylan, and Matt. Hope you're well. I'm not feeling great, but I'm so happy for the draw today, and 100% we'll survive." Eve, draw. That's all you need to do. Do your drawing. Why don't you draw Dylan or no? Draw Glenn. Draw Dylan or Glenn.
She's done me already. She's done me.
Okay, then draw Glenn.
I think she meant the game more than anything. We don't want too many draws. You want a few wins.
No. Just draw Glenn. Make sure he's got no hair though, because we don't know.
Since I saw you last, actually,
and if it goes wrong, it can double as a Steve Stone, can't it?
So. Next is Scott School Football News. Scott want to be positive, but 2 points dropped today, unfortunately. Everton midfield has been great under direction. Cooper chose the wrong section today. 4 defensive and Shelby forward and call back. I think, like I said, we're going to talk about that today as well.
Can I just say something? Can I just say something with that comment? It's 2 points drop. Technically, it's 1 point drop because no one ever thought us getting a draw against Man City. So I thought we'd win this one.
And the Liverpool win, so it's actually 1 point gained above. It's 4, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's really brilliant. Brilliant. Matt's on form, isn't it? He is on form. And last but not least, again, thank you for being a member of the channel. Thanks, Door. Lovely vlogs. I'm disappointed we not win today, but I like to think better a point for us than if Everton. Important that we didn't get 3 points today. Come on, your heads. And like I said, JJ, thank you for being a member to the channel. And if you can, email me, so I say thank you. Right, let's talk about today's game. People in the comments, how do you feel about today's game? I'm going to start with you, Matt. What's your thoughts on the game today?
Well, we wanted to win it, didn't we? If we'd won this, we beat Wolves, we beat Southampton, we're basically safe. So today to win would have been the right thing to do. But, you know, let's have a bit of a reality check. I see all these people sort of like, yeah, we're no good. We're rubbish. Don't blame the ref. It's a kind of like a little badge of honour. We belong here. We're good now. It's like we scraped up, didn't we, basically? We were everyone's favourite to just about get relegated. We're doing a lot better than that. We haven't done desperately well. Our new signings have generally not worked. You know, we're doing okay. We're doing very okay. We didn't win today, but guess what? It's football. You don't win every week, do you? Even when you play well. We didn't play very well today. We played really quite badly last week. But this is the Premier League. Yeah. And it's tough. It's tough. We're not suddenly world beaters. You know, where were you the last 23 years when we weren't even in this league? We didn't pay any attention to it. How much attention are you paying now to where we actually have been? I don't know what's going on in the Championship anymore. I don't care. We're in a different...
You know what, Matt? I think I'm liking that. Yes, I think I'm. Yes, quick.
This is the therapy. This is the therapy.
This is the therapy. This is what we need.
I've been going to the Steve Cooper therapy. They finished with Steve, and they've got some time for me now. So that's where he comes. No, but seriously, I mean, come on. You know, have a bit of perspective. This is tough. They're not a bad team. They've been in this league for all these years. You don't just beat these people every week. Look, they aren't that good. We should have beaten them. But we just did, you know, we did okay. It was one of those games, like you say, you can take it however you like, but it's more about you than probably the actual result. We got a draw at home. If we'd lost, it would have been bad. If we lose those 3 games we're talking about, even if we just draw them, we're going to be keeping them at arm's length. Look, we want to win them. Obviously, it's not rocket science. You want to win football matches. We didn't do it today. We made a half decent fist of it. We could have done, and there's a lot of positives as well as a few negatives.
Dylan, what was your thoughts on the game?
How can I follow that? I can't follow that now. I had a big thing in my head going on. Now Matt's
he had the speech. He had the speech, people.
No, I had a speech if we lost, but no. Yeah, like Matt says, I agree with the part of we're new to the league. These teams have been in it, but for me personally, if I was an Everton fan, I'd worry because contrast to what Dyke says, oh, we did this, we did that in the game. They didn't do hardly anything. Yes, they got a penalty, which was a bit the second shout for another penalty, really. We spoke about that earlier, do you know what I mean? Navas has had one save to make, tipped it over the bar. I think their goals were, the first goal, obviously, a penalty. The second goal, that was a cock-up, that was, in defence. If you watch the goal back, you see Worrell and I'm not sure if it's Joe, both at the edge of the box jumping for the same ball. Then obviously the ball ricochets off, go to their player and they score. You know what I mean? So I think overall, there's a couple of, like you say, there's positives. We scored 2 good goals and then a very good striker goals for Johnson. He's put them away neatly. That's what we want. Stuff like that. But then the only thing that worries me is through the game is watching them passing the ball and they're making sloppy passes. There's so many times that we're passing the ball and giving it away and you're just like, oh, here we go again. And do you know what I mean? So I don't know if that's a bit of nerves in the team thinking we've got to get we're we were 2-1 down at the time. We've got to try and get something out of this. Are they trying a bit too hard? I feel with Gibbs White, I love Gibbs White, think he's awesome. I just think sometimes he tries to grab the game by the scruff of the neck, and it just doesn't work for him sometimes. But other than that, like you say, there is positives, but there is still negatives because they're not that good. And I didn't think they were that good. Do you know what I mean? And I think against a better team, they would have got destroyed. And do you know what I mean? And we got the draw, which is a point for us, but got to go back to the drawing board and see what else we can do. We've got 2 tough games next.
100%. What about you, Glenn? What was your thought of the lineup today? Because like everyone could, I don't want to criticize each player, but people moan about Jack Colback and no Scarpa, no Diallo on the bench again. Chris Ward, blah blah. What was you happy with the lineup, Glenn? People in the comments, was you happy with the lineup?
I was in terms of the way that they put confidence in those players that played really well for the first 70 minutes, didn't they? When you and I were in the London Stadium last Saturday, and that they've then stuck with them again. I think that's often the easiest thing to do, isn't it? Have a big switch out of a group of players that have not particularly finished the game well. Their confidence, obviously, we've talked about confidence a lot on here. Their confidence would have taken a hit. The last thing we need as a fan is to see them being taken out of a team that up to that point they were okay with. They weren't great. They weren't likely to score certainly as many as West Ham did. So in terms of what I saw when at 1 o'clock when the team were out, I was delighted that we saw Aurier back in. I was delighted that we saw Yates back in on the bench. In fact, talking about positives and pluses and minuses, I got about the same. I got about 8 of each. Yates coming back in is a massive plus for me. Shelvey having a full game and getting game fitness is a massive thing for me. In fact, we got no significant or apparently no injuries, although Loddy and Jono both probably broke their hip on the same part of the
Yes, yes.
The crowd thing is for me. I'm not answering your question directly yet. The crowd still support us even though we're playing badly. That is a massive plus for us still. Jono's finishes. Felipe looks a proper player back there. And we didn't lose. That was the most important positive for me, that we didn't lose. There's still issues, and there's a whole great big list of them, no doubt, during the course of the evening we'll talk about. But in terms of the team, yeah, I was delighted that they stuck with them. Colback played well. I certainly don't think that the midfield.
I thought Colback played good as well.
I know your comment straight after the game, and often they're the best times to respond to those sorts of things, aren't they? In terms of review, I thought the midfield had issues. No doubt, we'll talk about Shelvey, Freuler. I still don't quite see where Freuler's role is in there as a pivot. I don't think he's playing that role particularly. I don't think he's got the attributes for it, but we'll no doubt talk about that. But in terms of the selection at 2 o'clock and the use of those 3, impact that AU had, the impact that Yates had, I don't think the starting 11 should have been changed, with the exception of Williams, who, like you and I were talking last week, got bullied a lot, didn't he? So I'm glad that Aurier came back in for him.
And look, to forget all the context, just as purely as a game of football, we'd be happier getting a draw than they would. You know, if you were them, they'd be sick not having won that. Yeah. They were ahead twice. They were gifted 2 goals. I'd much rather score 2 proper goals than rely on gifts and still not win. You know, that's what you got to think. It wasn't a good day. You know, if we get 2 goals given to us one week, we're going to win.
There's no chance to people. Sorry. Who was about to say? Was that you, Glenn?
Yeah. How was Mike that you spoke to last night? Have you spoke to him yet? Was he there today or not?
No, he wasn't at the game today. But I will text him and see how he feels today. If people not saw the preview show, he's a top guy, really top lad. And I said I will message him, but I've not had time because I've been editing my vlog. So my vlog will be straight after this review show. So if you please do, straight after the vlog will be out. Matt, Glenn, talk about the midfield and me personally. I mean, you mentioned Remo. I'm a big fan of him. I like him. Jack Colback, he gets so much criticism, so much of, like I said, he's been he's passed it, blah blah blah. But I think he was the best midfielder at the 3 today. That's my.
He hasn't put a foot wrong for 4 games, has he?
No.
You know, he's a Premier League footballer. He was born a Premier League footballer, and we were lucky to have him in the Championship. And that's what he was a major factor in getting us back up. And he's good. He's a good player. He's still a good player. He's not meant to be out there. If you say context, he wasn't really meant to play last year, according to most people. He's definitely not meant to be at the club this year.
I'll put my hands up, Matt, for this one. I will put my hands up.
But he shouldn't be at the club. But he's carrying the team. You know, not carrying the team, but he's playing, and he's playing more than his part. He hasn't put a foot wrong. You know,
he knows his role, Matt. He knows his role. He knows the role. He knows his role, don't he? And Cooper trusts him. Cooper trusts him, don't he?
Yeah. No, but we have never been rolled over when he's playing. You know, we fall apart when, you know, and I'm not saying that's just out of him, but it's to do with the blend. And again, with Remo, Remo's a good player. You can't discuss that. He's a good player. He's played loads and loads of games, international level. He's played World Cups. He's played all over the world. He's a mature, excellent pro of the highest order at his peak, probably. Whether you pick him every week, that's a different debate. You've got a squad, but that's what he offers you. That's what Colback offers you. And you get what's written on the tin with those guys. You know, the problems are when you don't get what you expect from players, or you don't pick the right ones together. And that's a matter of debate. You know, like people can say, oh, it's too negative today. Oh, put Yates back in. But then who do you leave out for Yates? You know, Shelby or, you know, these are the discussions. It's a jigsaw puzzle, isn't it? It's the blend of the players you've got to get right. And I think, to be honest, we've had a really hard time with that this year. That's been the struggle. I think the defence has been okay. The midfield, they kind of worked out a functional one. And now the bits are all kind of working. So what was the question? What was the blend of the midfield? I've forgotten.
It was Colback.
Colback. Isn't he good? Isn't he good?
Yeah,
yes,
I don't know, but it's just a debate because, like I said,
I don't understand it. I don't know anyone that hasn't figured out Colback hasn't figured out anything yet. You know, how much more evidence do you need? Well, there you go. You know, if you're still a Forest fan and going, I'm not sure about Colback, wake up. What are you watching? You
got to say, just another thing on Colback. I can't let this go. It was a tragedy to me how he never got Player of the Season last year. He was.
I do agree with that.
He played half the season at left back, a position is not his position, and he made it his own. And he scored a wonder goal, and he moved back into centre of midfield. He did what he did. We've got promoted. Do you know what I mean? You can't. But that's.
And did you see him sorting out Steve Stone, talking Geordie to Steve Stone at one point today? No, that was a classic. Yeah, him and Stoney were having a go.
I didn't see that.
They're probably reminiscing about some good
right, people in the comments, right? We're talking about midfielders. Who would, if we played a 4-3-3, who would you be your 3 midfielders? Well, I will tell the panel in a minute now. So people in the comments, who would be your 3 midfielders? Let me ask you, Dylan, about me. Right, I don't know. Like I said, me personally, I didn't think Philippe played good today. Well, that's me.
Who, Philippe?
Philippe, I don't think he played good today. I thought
the central defender.
Yeah.
The one that actually come out for every single ball. And I'm sorry, but he made Worrell look like a little child playing next to him. He come out, he smashed the ball, he took on players, he ran up the field. Ben, mate. I'm sorry, mate, but
I've got to remember that Gore sits in the Trent end. First half, he was shocking. Second half,
he was shocking.
He was amazing.
Dylan, first off, thank you, Glenn. Dylan, first off, he was shocking.
Forget the first half. Everyone was shocking. The second half as well.
No, but he was worse. He was the worst one the first half. And right, let me say something. Right, if that was Joe Worrell, right, if that was Joe Worrell in the first half, everyone would be absolutely slandering him.
Yeah, but look, people slander Joe. Whatever happens, they slander Joe. Don't just because they're jealous of him. That's why. You know, that's the only reason. They don't look at the football.
But if you look at Philippe,
Kieran, I did watch the game. Did you watch the game, Kieran? I did watch the game. It wasn't good first half.
No, but I'm sorry. Derek isn't going to pick Freuler, but luckily Derek doesn't manage Nottingham Forest. If Derek managed Nottingham Forest, we'd probably still be in the Championship.
Do you know about?
I don't know. Derek, he hasn't got a clue. But anyway, there you go. You know, but it's like,
you know about this. You know about this, Derek?
Probably. Well, he's just been talking about Freuler. It's like, you know, what does he know? What does he know? You know.
Oh, you know about this one?
Yeah, exactly. What a load of rubbish. What a load of rubbish.
It gives way a flipping opportunity. I don't know. Matt, don't stop fighting him, Matt. You've had enough. No more fighting, Matt. You've had therapy. Matt, you've had therapy.
Remember your therapy.
Wait. People, that's it. Woosa. That's it. People comments. If anyone giving another therapy session for Matt this week.
Well, I think the Colback thing is done, so now you've got to move on to new fields, haven't we? I think we've won that one.
Oh, days. People comment. There's 112 people. If you can do massive favor for me, please do hit the like button if you can. Let me ask you, but let's talk about Brennan. He scored two cracking goals. Again, he's proved people. He's had so much criticism from so many fans, like from social media as well. But again, he's proved his point, scoring 2 good goals. He could have got another one more, but he's proved again he's good for this level, isn't he, Dylan?
Yeah, and a lot of people have got to realise. I was probably one of the ones at the start of the season that probably was a bit harsh with thinking about, he does nothing on the ball and that. But then when you look at it, Cooper asked him to play. Cooper's even come out and said, I've asked him to play a certain way. I've asked him not to basically track back. I'm not asking, do you know what I mean? But then now he needs him to, and you can see him working harder for the team. And he's one of these players that, and I saw a report today that supposedly Man City, Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal are all monitoring him.
Yeah, I've seen that today. I've seen that today. Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City,
Man U,
Johnson. Well,
do you know what? But,
yeah, but look, they watch Match of the Day like everyone else. You know what I mean? This is a professional game. You know, they're monitoring everything, aren't they? You know, Jesus. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like in other news, water is wet sort of thing. It's like,
Anyway,
Dylan, carry on.
Johnson, he's just over the course of the season, he's just progressed. I think leading up to the World Cup, he wasn't himself, and then he went to the World Cup. He did what he did with Wales. He come back, and he's come back a totally different player. And I think majority of all the other lads have. I think personally, deep down, he probably had the international, the World Cup on his mind. Didn't want to get injured. You want to go out there and play World Cup. But since he's come back, what can you say? What's it? He scored 8 goals now. Yeah, 8 goals in the 9 is it? Well, 9 goals in your debut at 21 in the Premier League. I'm sorry, but who else has done that? Can you name me anyone? Do you know what I mean? At 21 years old. So 3 years ago, we played in League One. Was it 3 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago? Played in League One. Last year, he played in a Championship, and everyone said, even Matt's favourite manager turned around and said, he's no good for this league. You know what I mean? We won't speak of his name.
No, don't say his name, please.
Let's call him Derek.
Right?
Derek. But everyone said, Championship, no, it's too above him. He come in and smashed it. I'm saying he started the season slow, World Cup, gone to the World Cup, come back. Now he's starting to look good. 9 goals. Do you know what I mean? We've always wanted someone to score at least 10 goals for us in a season. Yeah. He's 21 years old. He's scored 9 goals already, and we've got another 12 matches to go.
You're right, Dylan. He's maturing into this really, really mature head on such young shoulders, isn't he? The decisions he's making, the breaks he's making, the effort the work he's doing, work rate,
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. He probably makes bad decisions.
Incredible finish. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. He makes some bad decisions.
Yeah, he hasn't had a great.
Yet, though, is he?
Yeah, exactly. He hasn't had a great season as a whole, but 5 or 6 games ago he was useless, wasn't he? He was kind of useless. Oh, drop him. We've got to drop him. Now he's a world beater. He's a good player. You know, he had some difficult games at the beginning of the season, but he's a good player. He's a young player. How many 21-year-olds? And he's going to get better. This has not been exceptional. This season's been poor compared to last season so far, but he's getting better. He's getting it, and he's believing it. Hopefully, he's getting confidence at this level, and he's only going to get better if he's looked after, isn't he?
Yeah, 100%. People, 132 people, if you've got any questions for the panel about today's game, please do. And please do hit the like button if you can. I'm on 24 likes. There's 132. Please get me to 100 likes as well. Right, let's talk about my player, my guy, Mr. Ryan Yates. And this is for you, Glenn. Like, everyone, I've missed him. But how long did it take him to make an assist? How long did it take to make an assist? How long was it?
10 minutes.
7 minutes, wasn't it? Yeah.
7 minutes, like he's come back, and I'm happy for the guy. And he, like I said, I'm happy. Was you happy when he come on? People in the comments, how was you feeling when Yates come on and he made that assist? How was you feeling, Glenn, about it?
It was just like 9 or 10 games ago when that square ball that he played was absolutely identical to a potential assist the other end. I can't remember who we played. He just fits straight back in. Now, I've no idea, and I don't think it's common knowledge, you guys may know, as to where he's been and what he's been doing. I think it's quite right that the process of him going through whatever health issues, and he's been given time to come back and be the stronger player. And oh my goodness, when he came on, the difference it made, and just the realization that how much we've missed that player at the back, that pivot player who picks the ball up from Worrell, supports Felipe and Worrell, sits back there, does the Shelby role to a certain extent, pivots the ball and plays us forward. Now, we've criticised a lot about certain players who don't play forward and play square too much. He started to do that within minutes of coming on. The impact he made, tracking back on that, I can't remember who it was. You guys may remember that the last ditch tackle, and then he fired up that crowd. There's no doubt that loads of the people on here will be in the Bridgeford, and just got everybody back up and going again. The impact that he has is will only really be mentioned. The fact that he's not in the same situation as Jono. He's not a Premier League player for a season yet. He's still relatively young, and he's learning every single game. And the more and more he plays, you asked me about my midfield. I've written it down here. And all of the 3 or 4 different oppositions we may face, he's in my midfield every single game. Now, I hope for the rest of the season, the health issues or whatever it might be will be managed and he'll be in a position to then play for the rest of the season. If he doesn't, I think Shelby's ideal. In fact, for a certain number of my formations in midfield, he's working with Shelby. So, Yates, massive impact again on the game. I just want him to play a little bit more in the second half. Perhaps, I don't know whether he'll start against Tottenham, but wouldn't it be amazing if he starts to play from the very beginning and we really see the impact that he's going to have. But yeah, delighted to see him back on the team sheet as a substitute and having him back on the game. I think, apart from the fact that he played that ball in for an assist, really kept us in the game all the way through. And I think had we played 5 more minutes, we may have nicked it.
100%. Another player that said, everyone, I thought, we know what Cooper's like with his mind games, with the man himself, Serge Aurier. He come back. Ricky Williams, me and Glenn watched him last week at West Ham. And I think he got bullied. And I thought, bringing Serge Aurier, this is for you, Matt. Do you think it was a right decision to play him today? Or
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Nico had a bad week last week, didn't he? I don't think he's a bad player at all, but he didn't have a week to remember. So I think Serge being back was a big thing. He's a seasoned professional, and pretty much you get what you want, you expect from him. Going back to Yatesy briefly, I mean, look, the thing with him is he's had tests, and the tests have come through, and he's all right. And I think that's enough. You don't need to know any more about that. He's had tests, he's needed tests. They've checked him out, and he's fine. He can play again. And it's brilliant to have him back, and it's brilliant that you don't know these days when people have tests, they can bring back funny results, can't they? So anyway, Aurier is important. It's our defence is solid. Lodi again was brilliant, but actually I thought in the game the wings were the scary part of the game. We were getting overloads, on both sides, especially Serge. He was having the ball and then misplacing a pass. And it wouldn't necessarily be his fault, but it would be Brennan wouldn't quite be on the same wavelength or something. And that was where the game was kind of like won and lost, and things happen, sort of thing. So he had a pretty good game, and it was excellent to have him back, and I hope he's all right. He seemed, not 100%. He seemed to sort of have a hard game physically, but hopefully he's all right to carry on. And we'll see him again next week.
I'm going to go through comments, and I'm liking this one. Sean Stone. I wish Conte asked Cooper more challenging questions on why he chose the defensive midfield against a struggling Everton side. Why is football at slow times? This is the question I want to ask for the panel and the people in the comments as well. I personally thought Everton were poor. A team that's been in the Premier League forever. They've not been relegated to Championship before, and this is why I'm frustrated that we didn't win the game. Yeah, they got the 2 goals in the first half. But Dylan, were Everton that poor today?
I don't. Like I said, if I was a Everton fan, I'd be more concerned with today's result than we should be concerned with our result. Do you know what I mean? Yes, we're looking at it thinking, oh, shoot, that was 2 points dropped. But then when you look over the course, like we said, Man City, Liverpool came 2 points there. But anyway, I think nothing stood out for me. To say Everton have been in the Premier League for all the years going, the well-established Premier League side, I think there were nothing. I've seen lesser teams come here and play better, personally, but I just think that maybe the Forest players were a bit, I don't know, if the occasion thinking, oh, if we win this, 7 points clear of them, did that get to them a bit or something like that? I think we made them look better than they actually was. Do you know what I mean? But I wasn't impressed. I didn't feel, apart from their goals, I didn't see any threats, really. The only person I was worried about coming on was Garner. Thinking, shit, if he could, because he could running in front of us, and I'm thinking to myself, if he comes, do you know what I mean? Is he going to come on and just?
He got a good reception as well, didn't he?
Oh yeah, which you would expect. But me personally, I didn't look at Everton and go, whoa, these are looking good under Dyche. My friend who I sat with today, he said to me, second half, he says Dyche will come out and he will frustrate the hell out of us. He will try and slow the game down. He'll try this.
Ugly team. Ugly.
I'll guarantee he'll do that. He says, but Forest cannot play into their hands, and we did. We let them do it.
Well, that's Sean Dyche.
The referee let them do it.
Yeah.
To be honest, they had the referee on strings, didn't they?
Yeah,
really.
They were
playing him like a cheap violin,
Yeah, like Cooper says, they probably gained more out of the referee than we did. But on the other side is you can see why Sean Dyche did keep Burnley in the season in the Premier League for so many years, because he got 2-1 up. Then he was like, right, let's just frustrate. Let's slow the ball down. Let's do this. Let's do that. It's kind of what
any team would do, really.
But Lumucci, if we go back to when Lumucci was in charge, he used to do that. When we used to go in front, he used to tell the Forest players, frustrate, slow it down, and stuff like that.
So used to do it when we're only 1 goal behind.
Well, yeah, but that's another sir. You mean Dave?
Derek.
Yeah, Derek.
Oh, Derek.
Too soon.
Right. Anyway, but yeah, I wouldn't. That's why I'm frustrated. That's why I'm pissed off, and probably why you are, Ben, as well. To come away from the game and go, what? Do you know what I mean? I'm frustrated more with Forest because I just felt we could just take that game by the scruff of the neck and go for it a tiny bit more, and we did towards the end. When we scored the second, it seemed to like, right, come on.
We need to remember. I don't know if people saw the comments. Brennan Johnson slip. The Brennan Johnson slip at the end. Matt talked to us about a slip, man. That I looked at it, I was like, oh no. I was like, my head was in my hand. I was like,
the ball across where it looked like he was trying to head it in.
Yes.
And then he sort of went like that. Did a wall sort of thing, like a sort of seal on the ground sort of thing. Yeah, that would have been desperately sad if he'd got his head to it. It'd be rolling towards the goal and the goalkeeper kind of came back and picked it up. But there you go.
Yeah. I was going to go for the comment, and this is a strange comment, and it's from Amada Compelli. With the fixtures that we have left, I'm no longer seeing we're staying up. Are you a Forest fan or Everton fan? Put any comments. I just don't. Yeah.
No, well, you got
so many games.
But it's a viable point. You can't.
Yeah.
Personally,
well, of course, we can lose every game. Of course, we can, and they can win every game apart from when they play each other.
Exactly. We've got next 2 hard fixtures.
Yeah, but look, Everton. We say look, they're not that good, but they've got this full of competent Premier League players. They've never got relegated. And that's all we're trying to achieve at this point. So, that Venn diagram doesn't have much of a crossover. You know what I mean? It's kind of like they're not mugs. They're not mugs. And Dyche is no fool.
Glenn, was you happy with the subs? I know Yates come on now, and I thought he played all right. But was you happy with the substitutions? Like, is it who come on? Yates, are you? Who else come on? Dennis as well. Was you happy with the subs that come on? Glenn, people in the comments, was you happy as well?
I was. I'm just going to go back. I will answer the question as to why Godfrey, who was fouling Jono from the half 30-minute point, why we didn't play the ball down that side more. Because as soon as
I know exactly. We
stopped playing down there. It was absolutely. I just didn't understand. Anyway, I don't know what Sam Surridge has to do to get on the pitch. Yes, okay. Dennis had some impact, and certainly coming back, tracking back, and getting when he did lose the ball that one time, he worked harder going back than he did going forward. You had an impact certainly on that ball that went in. That, like you said, that Jono dived into. Shot on target, should have hit it harder, should have placed it. I don't know what Sam Surridge in that position on that left side channel there is doing in training or what's going on, because I think there's a role for him there. Right from the sort of 50-minute point, the cameras were pointing down, and he was right on the corner of the family stand and the Trent end, looking like he's about to come on, and then something obviously happened. Yes, I'm happy with the subs because Yates was involved in those in that 3 change, and I think the 3 that came off were ready to come off, and it certainly had a little bit more of an attacking element with Dennis instead of who came off for him.
Foiler,
Wood, and another midfielder. Colback.
Yeah.
So we had another forward player and sacrificed that midfield. Colback coming into that midfield, obviously. It had an impact. If we'd have won the game, then obviously it would have been a masterstroke, wouldn't it? If I would have had one. I'm not sure, and you know what I feel about Dennis. I'm not sure where Surridge arguably could have gone into there, and I think he might have made a better effort on that left hand side, knowing where he has his goal threat. But yeah, the only sub in that had a massive impact was Yates, and we'll talk about him until the cows come home.
Let's talk about something. Let's talk about another player that I've seen like people's opinion about Andrew Aurier. Steve Cooper knows him from his Swansea days. I know everyone said he's not an impact player, blah blah. What do you think, Matt, of him? Do you think it was the right decision for Forest to get him?
To be honest, I don't know. I don't think it'd be fair to say anything about him. So he seems like a nice bloke. He drives nice cars, and he's got a fantastic range of cars. So I like him. I've got nothing against him, and I thought he did quite well today. But I really don't know, and I don't know what Sam Surridge has to do. Maybe he has to drive nicer cars. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but he's like the invisible man at Forest, as far as I'm concerned. And how he didn't come on at Fulham, I've got no idea at all, and I never will, as long as however long I live. yeah, I personally think our front three is always hampered by the third wheel, and it was Wood today. And whatever it is, if you look back at the tapes, whenever it's Surridge, the other two bits work reasonably well with him, and we create chances. You just look at how many chances we create when he's on the pitch, and people with a weak grasp of the game will say he's missed a couple of chances, but then they'll try and ask them when they ever saw some of these other players actually have a chance to miss, and then they're struggling. So I would rather have players that miss chances and create chances and other players that play well around them. And people like Johnson particularly play particularly well with Surridge. And again, it's the whole blend. And I just don't know why you haven't tried it more, because it's patently worked when you have, So I don't know whether he's liking to play with the arm tied behind his back, but that seems to be the tactic. And rewinding slightly, because I missed the previous one. I think as a team, we got hammered when we tried to play a bit of football and we weren't very good and we were a bunch of strangers at the beginning of the season. And Cooper's gone into his shell. He's got the defence functioning. He's got the midfield functioning. And he's been really quite defensive. We're a defensive team. We haven't played a lot of football. We haven't played a lot of flowing football, really. If you had to make a highlights tape, it wouldn't be very long. It would be shorter than EastEnders, that's for sure. So we haven't played a lot of football.
Well,
yeah, 20, 30 minutes.
You could have said Coronation Street or something like that.
Whatever. I'm from down south, aren't I? So it's
yeah, people.
I've got no idea what's going on.
No, Matt. The only reason I said Coronation Street because Pat's watching this, so this is why I said Coronation Street. This is why I said Coronation Street. Shout out to Pat. Sorry today, Pat.
Okay. But he's being cautious, isn't he? And again today, that's what people are saying. That why did you pick that midfield? It's all about how bold you want to be, how many chances you want to take. Yeah. And I think the unfortunate thing is he hasn't really figured out the front three. I don't think, and I don't want to mention Mr. Wood, and I think he's a nice guy, and he helped make the first goal. Absolute credit for that, but he hasn't set the world alight yet, and he's played he hasn't played every minute since he's been here, but near enough. He's played a lot of minutes already based on nothing, and I think you've got to rotate all these players and figure it out, and sometimes rest good players when they're not doing so well, and give other players a chance, and keep all the squad believing you're going to be picked on merit. So when you're in the team, you've got to play well to stay in it. And when you're out of it, you'll get a chance if they're not playing well. And I think if you're Surridge, you're going to have a hard time believing it's picked on merit, aren't you?
I totally echo what you're saying there, Matt. I think Cooper's obviously come out on record a lot, hasn't he? And talked about players who don't want to be boring and making positive mistakes. And if Sam Surridge is making those positive mistakes, I can't see how the others are
He's
playing.
A poster boy. He's a poster boy for that. And he should be the first name on the team sheet on that basis.
Correct.
So I feel like Cooper is sort of reading his coaching manual and not actually walking the walk at the moment. And if he was, he'd be picking. Surridge would have had a lot more chances this season if you were getting picked on merit up front, rather than familiarity or some kind of blind faith. Because you can pick someone game after game, and then when he scores a goal or when he helps make one or something, say, okay, that justifies him for the next games. Personally, I think you try and develop all your players. You've got a squad. You shouldn't have favourites. You should be trying to make the best out of every single player and figuring out how they work together and making the best of all of them. Because otherwise it won't work in the long run.
100%. Before we do the next topic, I wanted to give a massive shout out to Keely and Stephen. I met them before the game, all the way from Brighton, and they said they're massive love doing what I'm doing. Came up to me and Dave, and I spoke to them for like 10 or 15 minutes, and absolutely top people. So I just want to give them a shout out. So here's a shout out for you, Keely and Steve. Thank you for watching my content. And another massive shout out to my favourite number 2, Neil Cooper. I saw him before the game. I met Steve Cooper's son, Alex, as well, with his mates. Come to me. Alex gave me a little bit of stick, saying to me, why are you not bigging me up? I said, Alex, I'll big you up now, Alex. Shout out to Alex as well. And again, I wanted to, another proud moment for me today.
Well, and tell your dad to give Sam a bit more game time whilst you're at it. That's right. That's what you should have said to him.
Nah. As well, another proud moment for me and Des. We did something from Match of the Day to today, and I absolutely loved it. So it'll be on Sky Sports somehow. It's like a trailer, a promo trailer, and me and Des was just bantering some forced rival club. But we absolutely loved it. So it's another proud moment for me and Des today. So I don't know when we'll be on it, but do watch on TV. We had fun. We actually had fun. So shout out to Mark from the boot room as well for letting us use the facilities as well. Because I thought I actually loved it. I loved it. Back to the game. Let's talk about people who impressed you mostly today. We know Brennan Johnson. For me, we'll talk about man of the match, but he was top. But last you, Dylan, any player that you thought, oh, yes, he's definitely playing against Spurs next week. Any players that stood up for you today?
John Joe. For me,
Yeah.
John Joe, Shelby. I just think since he's come into the team, he just seems. I don't know if any of you over agree with me, but he just seems to dominate that whole midfield. He just give me the ball. I'll dictate where this is going. If I'm going to, do you know what I mean? We're going to play back. We're going to play forward, or we're going to do this, or He seems to have that authority there, and I like him playing with Jack because I think they both complement each other. But obviously, Shelby to me is more of an attacking. Do you know what I mean? A bit more in your face. Let's take this game by the scruff of the neck, and we're going to move it. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to dictate to you and everyone around me to where this game's going to go. Where Jack's more of a solid. Do you know what I mean? Get in it, get the ball. Let's get. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like a more defensive. Where I like John Joe, where he likes to move forward, but he's not afraid to come back. Do you know what I mean? There was a amount of time, was it against, I think it was West Ham, maybe? And the amount of times I was like, why does he look like he's a centre-back? Do you know what I mean? And there was a time where, in the game, I don't know if you realised, where Serge went up top and John Joe went to left back, went to right back.
Right, mate.
And I'm like, I said to my mate, I said, hold on a minute, what's Shelby doing there? He's just let Serge go. Do you know what I mean? So for me personally, I think he's been an absolute spot on addition to the team.
There's a question I want to ask Matt or Glenn can answer this. And I saw quite a lot of people out sending comments as well. Any reason why Scarpa and Taylor are not in the squad? Matt, do you think these two are up for the fight for this? We can call it a relegation battle. But what's your opinion? People in the comments as well. What do you think? Do you think Cooper doesn't fancy them in this fight? What's your opinion, Matt, on it?
Well, personally, I think they're both excellent players, and I've got no doubts on that. But equally, you could almost justify their absence from the squad today when you looked at it, in a way. Personally, I'd always have Scarpa in the team, a squad at least, and give him a much more free role. I think he's had a really hard time since arriving. They've made him into something I wouldn't say they've made him into something he isn't, but he's played against teams like Man U, and he's had to be very disciplined and not play his natural game, not be... Yeah. Personally, what I would do is have him more often than not every single week, have him on the bench. If we need a goal, I'd stick Gibbs White out to the left and put him in the middle. And I think that would be scary. You give him free rein in the middle and say, we'll defend, you three just go and score some goals, shit will go down. I'm sure of it. More so, that's when you'll get something out of him. Not sort of playing a nice disciplined thing against Manchester United, trying to keep them to 0-0 or something. It's not going to work, is it? So that's where I see his role. Danilo, again, he's got something about him. He's very high energy, but there's a mistake in him. And if you're going to put him in, like right now, I think you're almost protecting him from himself. If you put him playing where Colback was playing today, or where Freuler was playing today, God help him, his career would be over by sort of half time sort of thing. If he makes one mistake, which he's a kid, He's a kid. He'll be prone to, and he's got that in him. There's a big gain, but there's also a big downside. You don't want to get yourself relegated, giving a guy a game you don't need to when you've got a guy that's played in the World Cup. You've got another guy who's playing in the Premier League when he was a teenager. Play them. Give him the weekend off. It's the smart thing to do. You know what I mean? So I don't think they should be concerned about their futures. I hope not, because I think they're both fantastic. They'll be huge assets to us. We've got options in the midfield, haven't we? We haven't even mentioned Mangala. Mangala is arguably one of the best. You know, so the good thing is it's a nice problem to have. The ones that are in there aren't doing horribly, however critical you might be of them. They're not bad players, and we've got a lot of good players that aren't even in the squad. So, yeah, and I really like Scarpa, but I think let him be Scarpa. Let him skateboard. Let him do everything he wants to do.
Skateboard?
Yeah, but let him do what he wants to do and be Scarpa and just have the Scarpa card to play. Don't turn him into Yates or something. Yates is Yates, Scarpa, Scarpa. They're different players. You know, Scarpa can do all the things Yates can't do, but probably none of the things that Yates can do as well. So don't make them the same. Keep them different.
You've got to remember the attributes that each of these players bring. And obviously these analysts, and you wouldn't have analysts if you're not going to set a team out against an opposition who have conceded goals in particular ways. Now, we've got a dearth of players that we could put in. We don't necessarily have to have the same team every week. And we certainly shouldn't have an attacking team in a team that will punish us if we commit too many players going forward. So you need a balance in that midfield more than anything else. Now, what we've got is two extremely able, extremely talented, potential Premier League players who have only been in the country for less than 8 weeks.
I can hardly speak the language.
Building a team around a number of players. Today, it just wasn't. I don't think it was the right fit. Now, some message in the comments about why we didn't have a more attacking group of players in there. We did. We just had players that would move the ball towards our attacking players in Gibbs White and Johnny. That midfield was set for a particular purpose because they knew they were playing a Daesh Everton that would be physical and would knock us about if we put young players in there. That was the reason for me. You don't have analysts suggesting this is the group of players we should put against them and then put the young kid in there.
100%. But yes, sorry, Glenn. Me personally, the way I think, especially the second half, the way Everton were time wasting, it's what Dyche does. He did it for Burnley. And he's trying to implement with Everton because they would have took a 2-1 win. And what's his name? Pickford was trying to wind up the Forest fans with time wasting, blah blah blah. But it didn't help. When we was 2-2, it didn't suit them because going forward, especially the second half, I don't think they were doing anything. To be fair, but that's I don't know. What do you think, Dylan? Do you think? Sorry, Matt. Go on, Matt.
I was going to say there were a few scary moments in the second half. Felipe was particularly heroic, I thought. He did a few of those kind of shapes where you kind of, the guy's running like that, and you just hope it hits your heel.
I told you, this is what...
That was Yates' cross to eventual score. He managed to get the ball back in midfield. Felipe just dropping his knee like
Precisely, yeah, exactly. I know. You know, we were kind of on the edge, but I thought Felipe was actually outstanding today. I didn't think he was that bad in the first half. I mean, it's the team game. He wasn't that bad. But I thought
Felipe.
Yeah, no, he was all right. I'm not a biggest Felipe fan, particularly off the bat. I don't know why we got him, but I'm being won over very, very quickly. He's been really, really good. And the second half, he was absolutely outstanding.
I can see why we can get him.
Yeah. But anyway, you know, we're a bit short of centre halves at the moment. Anyway, but no, he's earned his stripes in very short time. So yeah, you can't drop him now, can you? You know, it's that good. And the second half is outstanding today.
You've been editing since the game finished. Watch it again.
What, Felipe?
Yeah. He was brilliant in the second half. Yeah, he was a
first half. I'm saying first half.
Forget the first half. That's done. You know.
Much better.
You know what? I'm going to watch the game on TV after I've done the editing. Make sure you watch the vlog afterwards. I think there's a guy who loves Matt. Where are you from, Stefan? Hello, Charles. Much enjoying Matt's viewpoint. Stirs up reaction. A lot of merit. Keep them honest, Matt. He does stay a lot of reaction, but this therapy, it's gone to his head, I think. So people, if you want Matt to go back to therapy, please do.
I'm actually more of a therapist than the recipient of therapy, to be honest. I spend most of my time trying to give people therapy.
Oh, days. Right, people, that's it. We'll do the last before we do go. Who's your man of the match and what was your rating for the team? Let's start with you, Dylan. Wait, before we do, we've got the man himself, Mike, in the comments as well. Where is it? There it is. Blue Boy Network, I do, Mike. We didn't lose. Oh, hey, good game. Didn't think it helps either of us, but good game, Mike. Shout out to Mike. This guy's a top class. Make sure everyone.
The second rising of Jesus, wasn't it, Mike?
You shout out to Mike. I told Mike did say 1-1 with fair, but yeah. Make sure everyone goes watch Blue Boys Network. He's a top guy, and he was on my previous show on Friday. So please, everyone, go and subscribe to his channel. He's a top guy. Did you watch it, Matt?
No, not that. I'm just laughing at Derek, who says I'm a muppet.
Derek, I agree with you. I agree with you, Derek. He is a muppet. No, Matt, you're not. Because I don't Michaela give me. I don't Michaela.
One. I've never lost a game of football yet. So
listen,
okay,
Matt's the top guy. Listen, Derek, Matt's the top guy. I just don't want to punch on Michaela. That's all. I just don't want to punch on Michaela.
No.
That's all. Right, boys, people in the comments, boys and girls, what is your who's your man of the match and what was your rating? We'll start with you, Dylan. Who's your man of the match and what was your team rating?
Man of the match has got to be Jono. Scored the 2 goals. Do you know what I mean? But very. Do you know what I mean? You could look at Philippe for Ben if you wanted to. Now, I'm just saying, Philippe could have been a man of the match as well.
Never. I thought he was poor first half.
Yeah.
I disagree.
So,
do you think who was better? Who was worse? Joe or Philippe in the first half?
I think they're all pretty good the whole game, really. I think it was. I think they both did all right.
It was rubbish. I thought it was rubbish. But people,
what did he do? What did he do? What did we miss? Did we miss
one stray ball. One ball was short. That was the one thing I remember from the first half.
Oh, he kicked the ball out, didn't he, behind Loddy or something like that? I mean, look, the goal, they both missed their headers, didn't they?
I must say, I don't dislike him. I don't dislike him. I just say it was just one poor game. That's all. People, please don't go at me. I just say I thought he was.
You just say what you think, my friend.
No, I'm just saying he wasn't. No, I'm just saying like people think I've got a gen against Scarpa. I haven't got a gen against Scarpa. I just don't think he's done nothing. That's all.
Yeah, you were really hating him before.
I wasn't hating Scarpa.
You were hating. You were hating on him. You were joining a crowd. It was like some kind of rally or something. You had that banner.
Matt, stop trying to make people turn against me. Okay, this is the DoreOnTour show. People, if you want to follow Matt on.
Is this like the Matty Cash thing about he's not a left back?
No, I'm not involved. I'm not involved with that. I'm involved. I'm not involved.
As soon as anyone puts on a headband, he gets triggered.
Dylan, what was your man match? Johnson and what was your team?
Jono, and I thought the overall team, I'd go 7 out of 10 overall. Personally, they didn't get the win.
Right. There's a comment. See, in fact, Phil, thank you very much, Phil, for this. Look, Phil, who consistent missed passes first half. Thank you, Phil. Phil, what's your address? I've seen some stickers, Phil. Thank you, Phil. He missed.
Wasn't the only one. Aurier was rusty, missed 3 passes down that right hand side, just didn't have the impact that.
A lot of them did.
Yeah, but where do you get these infallible players? Why don't we sign them in future? You know, the thing actually I thought today that was interesting. How many of our signings weren't involved? How much money do we have in the stands, or not even in the stands, or back at home on the sofa and stuff like this? So much money wasn't on the pitch. You know,
still 9 on the injury table, isn't there?
Yeah, well, there's that, but this was a cheap team we put out today, really, wasn't it? It was odds and ends and afterthoughts. It wasn't a team we went out and bought down at Harrods or anything, was it? This wasn't the dream team that we went out and paid a load of money for, apart from Gibbs White.
Next one. What about you, Glenn? Who's your man of the match and what was your team rating?
Jono, without a shadow of a doubt. And my team rating, I'd have gone, and this is based on the fact that when we conceded, we didn't concede again like last week, and when Fulham came to visit, that we stayed in the game, that we showed that resilience to battle through and end up getting a 2-2 draw. It's no more than a 7, but first half, probably a 5.5, 6. Certainly a better second half. Arguably, without that referee and the Gibbs White foul that he missed, who knows? It might have been more like a 7 or an 8, but 7, I'd say, no more than that.
Matt?
Yeah, 7 for the team. I mean, I think personally, fighting like that and coming back from adversity is a plus point rather than kind of like a minus point. Getting it, anyone can score a goal. The goals they scored, the penalty. I think there was a foul. I haven't watched it back, but I felt like there was a couple of fouls before we got to the actual penalty incident itself. And the second one, they should never have had the free kick. And then you miss 2 headers, which happens, but 2. And then a third one just being in the right place at the right time. It's just like being struck by lightning. It happens now and again, and there's not much you can do. And it's a lucky goal. But they shouldn't have even had the free kick. And that was an absolute certain. So I think the referee didn't help. And it's a classic example of small things having big effects, So, and we scored 2 good goals. And obviously, Brennan's man of the match. So give Brennan Johnson man of the match for sure, which is a bit boring. But, it's nice that he'll shut up all the sort of doubters and undoubtedly deserves his man of the match award this week.
100%. I think my man match, I agree. Brennan Johnson, 2 good goals as well. My rating, I think I'll give it 7 as well. First off, like I said, it wasn't great, but you got the point. You didn't lose.
Everyone played all right, though, didn't they? Loddy played well again. Everyone was kind of all right. Didn't look out of place. Not any major problems. I just think he's got to do something up front. He's got to figure it out. We're just not attacking enough. That's our problem. If we could have a bit of a cutting edge, we'll be a different proposition, and then we'll win some games away from home because we just don't score goals easily enough, do we?
No, 100%. Like I said, people, I said that's a 7 out of 10. That's me. But yeah, 7 out of 10. Right, it's been a great show. Thank you, everyone that has took part of the show. Thank you to Dylan. Thank you to Glenn, and thank you to the Matt's calmed down from last show, so I'm happy for Matt today. He's had his therapy. He's come back a better man.
On some heavy drugs.
What you on paracetamol? Is that what you want?
Heavy that you don't even want to know.
Oh, he's on paracetamol. Yeah. He's on paracetamol day, so he's all right.
It's so heavy I can't feel my lips. So
before we go, Matt, have you got any merchandise that you're giving away soon?
I'm piling out the old get behind the lad stuff again. So I'm doing that. I've got a big order going into Japan for hundreds and hundreds of flags and things. So we're going to put that right after that sort of shocking display today with sort of scraping the barrel like they were. But never mind. We'll do our bit sort of thing. So yeah, I'm keeping busy. I'm getting into the world of cricket at the moment, so
cricket
doing something special.
Right, that's it. Cricket's done for me. Cricket's done for me, Matt. Don't talk about cricket to me. I've had enough of cricket. I just don't.
Summer is coming.
I'm not a cricket fan. Just what
T20.
I'm not.
I'll just be happy when we get those.
Have you ever,
points, just so I can relax
Ben, have you ever been to a T20?
I've not, but I'm not expecting to.
No. Do you know what? We should go one evening, just evening down there, couple of hours. Trust me, it's not what you think it is.
Are you going to pay
50 miles just on that night just to take you down there, Door?
Dylan, are you going to pay for me? You still owe me some big favours. You still owe me some big favours.
Yeah, let's not talk about
that. Right, people. Right, the vlog will be out 9:15, people. So if you can do a massive favour for me, go and check it out. It's on the main page on my YouTube channel. So yeah, 9:15. It should be out. So people, thank you, Dylan. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Matt. Thank you as always. But yeah, people, I'll be. You know what? Tomorrow I'm gonna do a show tomorrow at 9 o'clock because Des have a little rest. He's focused on his other channel. So people in the comments, I will do a show tomorrow, like a dialing with Door. Forget Des. I've had enough of Des.
What's he doing?
No, he's focused on his more on his channel because he's slacking. This is what he's slacking on his own.
This is what happened.
Yeah,
See, this is what he's
They all start
he's
going
kept
off
you
on
afloat.
solo ventures, don't they?
No, he's still
banned, isn't it? They all go off.
No, he still does content. He still does content for my channel, like that after review ones. So people, he does
all the fame goes to the head.
Yeah, you know what it is. Like I said, like it's like we got to was that the boot room
happy
this
squad. It's got to be picked on merit.
Listen, we was at the boot room this morning, and his head was getting that big.
Can't have favourites. There you go.
No, listen to me. He was in the boot room. He was in the boot room.
He's your little Morgan Gibbs White.
Listen to me. We was in the boot room. We was having fun. I was talking about. I'm not talking that team trying to cause us a rival. So people, it's gonna be fun. I can't wait to watch it. Just talking about me and Des was having fun, but it's no, like I said, another thing that I ticked off in my that little diary. Well, I've done something, but I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of Des as well.
You'll have to show us what's left in your diary. I guess that'd be.
Listen, there's loads of things in the diary, but that includes me and myself. But yeah, right. It's been a pleasure, people. Like I said, I'll be there. I'll be doing my own podcast tomorrow. Diary and Door. So if you do want to come on. You
can't nick that slogan. I'm sorry, but you can't nick it now. It's Des's.
What should I say then? Door
on tour. Door on tour.
Door on tour. Right, people. If you want to come on the Door on Tour show tomorrow, just phone in. Simple as that, people. Right.
Give Ben a bell. That's.
Hey Matt, make him a sticker up. Make him a sticker up and say, "Give Ben a bell."
Yeah, and then we do a suitable logo.
Yeah, but they do his face. The face he's got
with Craig
face
appear on it
with a bell, with a bell or some headphone.
Yeah. Something like that. Big Ben.
Right, I've had enough, people. Right, tomorrow I'll be there 8 o'clock tomorrow, people. I've had enough of this panel now. See you tomorrow 8 o'clock. Peace and love. Up the forest.